Maria barely flinched as the crystal glass shattered against the marble floor, the sharp sound cutting through the thick silence of the luxury suite. Shards scattered at her feet, glinting under the chandelier's glow. She tightened her grip on the fresh towels she had just brought in, willing herself to stay composed. "Are you deaf?" The guest's voice was sharp, laced with irritation. "I said I needed my room cleaned an hour ago. Do you people even understand the concept of service?" Maria forced a steady breath. She had dealt with difficult guests before, but this woman, draped in a silk robe, blonde hair swept up in a careless bun, radiated entitlement. "I'm very sorry for the delay, ma'am," Maria said, keeping her voice even. "I'll clean it right away." The woman scoffed. "Of course you will. That's what you're paid for, isn't it?" Maria bent down to pick up the broken glass, but the woman's voice stopped her cold. "Never mind that. Just, ugh. Forget it. You probably don't even speak proper English." A wave of heat rushed to Maria's face, but she swallowed her pride and continued picking up the pieces. She had learned long ago that dignity was sometimes best kept in silence. And then the door burst open. Maria jumped, nearly cutting her hand on a shard, as two sharply dressed men entered, their presence exuding authority. One of them spoke into a headset, his voice clipped and professional. "Ma'am, we've been trying to reach you. Your father has arrived." The woman's expression faltered for the first time, irritation replaced by something else. Unease. "He's here? Now?" "Yes, ma'am. He wants to speak with you immediately." A shadow filled the doorway. Maria turned her head and felt the air still. An older man stepped in, his tailored suit crisp, his silver hair combed back. But it was his face, strong, familiar, that made Maria's breath catch. She had seen it before, on magazine covers, on news reports. It was William Lancaster, the billionaire real estate mogul, the man who owned the very hotel she worked for. And the cruel woman standing before her? His daughter. The tension in the room was suffocating as Lancaster's sharp gaze swept over his daughter, then landed on Maria. His eyes softened just slightly before he turned back to his daughter. "Elena," he said, his voice calm but firm. "Did I just hear you insult one of my employees?" Maria watched as Elena straightened, shifting uncomfortably under his scrutiny. I was just—" Lancaster held up a hand, silencing her. Then he turned to Maria. "I apologize for my daughter's behavior," he said, his voice carrying the weight of sincerity. "I won't allow anyone in my hotels to be treated with disrespect, including you." Maria hesitated, stunned by the unexpected apology. Lancaster turned back to his daughter, his gaze icy. "You were given a suite in my hotel, and this is how you behave? This is exactly why I had you stay here, to see how people work for a living, how hard they work. And yet, you treat them as if they're beneath you." Elena's face paled. "Dad, enough," he cut in. "You're leaving. Today. And you'll be working at one of my hotels. Not as a guest, but as staff." Maria's eyes widened. Elena's jaw dropped. "You can start by shadowing Maria here," Lancaster continued. "If she's willing." The entire room seemed to exhale at once. Maria blinked, stunned. She glanced at Elena, who still looked frozen in shock, then at the billionaire who had just turned the tables in the most unexpected way. A slow, satisfied smile curled at the edges of Maria's lips. "That sounds fair to me," she said, and for the first time that day she stood a little taller.